Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be going through my June social media blockchain metrics and earnings report, where I go through all the platforms that I'm using, or at least the main ones, talk a little bit about how they're progressing and how I'm doing on these platforms, as well as how much I can earn in terms of crypto from just sharing and posting to these platforms. And that gives you some insight as to which platforms you might want to focus on and how much you might be able to earn as well. I've been tracking this now for nearly 3 years, which is pretty substantial. And I've been on this every single month, putting out these reports. So, do stick around and continue to follow along to see how things progress. It really seems like there's a correlation to earnings, from earnings correlated with the actual crypto market and how well it's doing in general, not only just from, what you're earning has more value, but also you generally get more traffic and a lot more going on when the market is booming. So there definitely seems to be a trend there that I've sort of identified, but we'll talk about all that after a quick word from my sponsor today.
A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android.
Thanks again to my sponsor. So let's jump right into it. So as always, we take a look at, how I've progressed on these various social media platforms overall. Lately, it's been really dismal. I mean, June was kind of around the bottom. So since then, I've seen things really trending back up, which is great to see. But this is one of the first few months that, with followers that I lost in certain places and gained in certain places, I ended up not really moving the meter very much in terms of followers. I think one of the platforms I was on had like some glitch or whatever, and then all my followers got deleted. But, either way, it's unfortunate, but I don't think this is going to keep happening. This is kind of an anomalous month. Not really worried about it. It isn't great, but it's not really a concern to me right now because I'm already significantly up since making this, so I'm not super concerned there. In terms of like the main platforms that I'm using, everything's still clocking along just fine. Specifically, is there anything that I want to call out for any of these platforms? Not really. They've all been pretty solid. I haven't really had any issues. I haven't really changed anything up lately. I've been trying to post a little bit more, and I have been doing that, so that's really good. In terms of interviews, I did another follow-up with 3Speak. I did an interview with Thorchain that I'm really excited to get out. I've done a few interviews in the last month or so, and I'm going to keep doing a bunch more. I haven't actually gotten those out yet, but that is like on my next to do. So for August, I'm going to try to get all those interviews out, as well as get out some more important content that I think is relevant. I want to go back and sort of redo some of my old stuff to kind of give a refresher and also just, add some more to it. I think I need to redo my scam video in terms of like how to flag scams and determine what might be a scam or what's not a scam, as well as my budgeting video. And I've also gotten requests for that. I think it's been like almost a year or 2 years since I made my budgeting video, and it's probably worth going back to that and talking about it, especially with inflation being as bad as it is. We can complain about inflation, or we can try to do whatever we can to combat inflation. And budgeting is one of the most important things. You can only improve what you track. If you do not track something, it is very challenging to make improvements because you don't know if you're making improvements other than like your general feeling about your money. But that's not really reliable. You need to be able to track things, graph it out, see how you're progressing, see where you can make changes. And just having that visualization to begin with is so important. So I'll be doing that in the next little while as well. Not a lot has happened, though. In terms of earnings, which I know you guys are the most interested in, this was my lowest earning month ever. So that's pretty unfortunate. But again, I mean, it was just kind of correlated with how poorly the market was doing, and things were just doing so bad that, you're getting less traffic, you're earning less valuable coins, all that kind of stuff. I mean, everything's been going up since then. So I think July will be a lot better of a month in terms of earnings and all that good stuff as well. Needless to say, a lot of my earnings end up being pretty contingent on how well I do on Hive and Read.Cash, simply because they've always been my biggest earners in the past. And, you know, it's pretty clear to see that just from looking at this. I mean, LBRY pays out nothing now. Like, I made 42 cents, which is by far the lowest out of anything here. It's almost not even worth recording at this point. That's how bad LBRY's gotten. I mean, LeoFinance is 53 cents. However, that's like supplementary to Hive. So I would loop that in with Hive. So that's not really a concern there. And yeah, I mean, like even Blurt, I'm earning more on. Even Saray, which is like very underground, not very well known. I started posting more on tipmeacoffee.com. It's very, very new, but I'm interested to see how it plays out. So that is something that could potentially get added to this list. And I'd love to see Rockfin kind of pick things up again, and I would bring it back into the mix and bring it onto the list again. But this sort of tends to be the platforms where I'm earning the most. Again, it's still worth using LBRY just as a backup, but it's not really worth your time in terms of like earning. I'll probably do a Hive versus LBRY comparison in the near future, just by request. I mean, I'll probably go back to my decentralization matrix questions to determine if something is actually good or not, and I'll apply those to LBRY and Hive side by side to give an idea of how they differ. I mean, realistically, Hive is way better for governance, monetization, true ownership, not being able to be censored in any way, and relying on like seeders and all this extra stuff. Hive is significantly better, and that's just the reality. And I mean, it's played out in terms of earnings, and you know, I've had no real issues on Hive compared to LBRY, where I've had tons of issues. So, you know, to each their own, but I'm going to do a review and compare them side by side in the future as well. But in terms of the earnings breakdown, everything kind of is consistent with what I normally get. I mean, Read.Cash is significantly down. That is more of a consequence of the value of Bitcoin Cash being so down. Like on my last report, it was $359. Now it's $138, or at least at the beginning of this month when I recorded all this. It's been going back up now, which is great to see, but it was way down. So, you know, massively impacting my earnings, which were generally the same. So it was really contingent on how much it was actually valued to be earning a good amount. I actually earned a significant amount on DTube. Oh, that should actually say 70, not 170. Oops, there we go. But yeah, $25 is pretty solid on DTube. So, you know, I'm happy to see that. DTube has been starting to pick up a little bit more, which is really great to see. The only complaint I have about DTube lately is I've had a lot of issues uploading my videos and it not going through, and then I have to rely on importing from YouTube, which wouldn't be an issue if they actually imported it from YouTube. But all DTube does is just play the YouTube video as an embed, like an embedded video in the DTube player. So it's still just a YouTube video, and if the YouTube video got banned or whatever, then it would also be removed from DTube. So that's not really reliable. I mean, it's good as an alternative if you can't upload for some reason, which is what I had, but that's not a reliable way to go about it, just, you know, normally. So do keep that in mind. I still really like DTube. It's great that they do have all these different options just in case, but lately I've been having to rely way too much on importing from YouTube and not being able to just post normally. So that is somewhat of a concern, but DTube is still really good in terms of monetization and everything else. YouTube generally outputting about $30. That's kind of the average lately. And then Blurt and Saray, the like Hive copy clones, putting out a few dollars. So, you know, all in all, it came to $142, which again, unfortunately, it is the lowest I've earned in quite some time. Oops, trying to just go down here. Yeah, so you can see comparing the chart. I mean, there was a time where I earned $5,000 in 1 month from just posting on platforms. That was largely LBRY though, because that was like 2,700 from LBRY. But still, I mean, half of that was still from all the other platforms. But yeah, LBRY really skews this whole chart in terms of what is consistent or sustainable, or even something that you could actually expect to get yourself. I do expect this to finally start going up again. Even though it's been some of the lowest earnings that I've received in a very, very long time. I have been posting less, but I've been starting to pick things back up again, mainly in July. So on my next report, I will be shocked if this is not a notably higher number, and starting to see an uptrend again, kind of alongside the crypto market going back up as well. So I do expect things to start to return to normal, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. I mean, the crypto market is what it is. This is still somewhat contingent on how I do on social media and how much I'm actually posting and how good the posts actually are and all that stuff too. I never throw that aside, but considering we're just going off of all of my data, that is the most relevant indicator, is just going off of my own data and not really considering too much about the content, because it feels like it's a lot more contingent on how the market is doing. But, needless to say, I am posting more. In August, I will be getting out a bunch more interviews and all that stuff as well. So do stay tuned for all of that. It is my lowest month yet, and so is the previous month. So I keep setting records for low earnings, which is unfortunate. But I'm very bullish going forward for the crypto space as a whole, and being able to earn in the social space. So, do stay tuned for all of that. I'm going to continue posting these reports. I'm going to stay on top of this. I'm going to push as hard as I can to be making more content and finally getting out my comprehensive review alongside those, the budgeting video, the scam video, and then hopefully doing some other stuff that I will keep secret for now and let you guys know in the near future. But I promise I'm working hard on all this stuff. I spent so much time researching and trying to make sure I have the best information possible for you guys. I don't like just doing like news videos where I'm just spitting out whatever is happening at the time. I'm much more focused on timeless content that can be useful to inform you on making decisions in the crypto space in general. And that's kind of the way that I like to go about it, and finance. So it takes a lot more time for me to prep this stuff. And in the last several months, I've been much more focused on quality than quantity, whereas previously I was probably a little bit more on the quantity over quality side of things. However, I know I keep saying I'm going to post more, but I have been starting to increase my posting a little bit. And with all these interviews and the backlog, I'll have a bunch of content that I can get out as well. So do stay tuned for all of that. I really appreciate you guys for sticking around until the end of this video and listening to me try to explain why I'm making so much less money nowadays. But again, I think now that the crypto market's going back up, we're going to see a big increase here. And I think a lot of people are going to see the same thing on their social platforms. But let me know, are you seeing anything different? Are your earnings on various social crypto platforms dipping as well? Are you seeing kind of the same thing? Do you think it's more related to how much I'm posting and you're not seeing those same results? Also, are there any platforms that I'm not reporting on that you're using that you think I should check out? I'm always looking for new platforms to use. So do let me know any of that stuff in the comments below, and do comment hashtag #1ham in the comments below to let me know that you watched the whole video to the very end, and I always do very much appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Sconcy Business, signing off. Cheers.